You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
It's space podcast time. You know, the show, the one with your favorite host characters who say all those things and share thrilling insights and funny comedy jokes. It's the show you've always known and loved. It's 7 p.m. Pacific. It's Monday night. We're here and you're there with us. It's Space Adventure Podcast Live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Heather Ray Barker, and I'm afraid I'm feeling a bit melancholy.
Aww.
It seems that the Agonians have succeeded in stealing my brain cell.
We gotta get them back.
They really needed it. They
Yes.
did. But don't worry, everyone, because Amelia Moon is on the case.
Yes.
That's right. We're talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode. What are we on? Episode 3? 4. We're
Yeah.
already on 4. The time is
I know,
flying.
right?
Oh my gosh. Okay. A space adventure hour is tonight. And I hope that you all have brought your brain cells for the Agonians to steal. And are ready to call into the show and connect with us in the chat because we want to hear from you. I want to know what you think because this is like, again, the Tuvix of the hour, the most like divided episode. I thought that last week's episode was the most divisive one. I don't know. That's what Strange New Worlds' new formula is. Let's divide the crowd. Let's get people talking, perhaps. I don't know, but you guys know what to do. Click the hearts in the chat, interact, call in, do the stuff.
Yeah.
You know what to do. You're pros.
Exactly. The Earl already says it's Hollywood Squares in the Earl Green Room. And anybody else, especially if you're new, definitely click on the link. Definitely join us. We love to hear from you if you're new to our show. And make yourself known in the chat. And everybody who's a veteran, make them welcome. Say hi to them as well. But, Heather, you said it right away. This is a bit of a divisive episode. And I love to have my opinion swayed. I love to see an episode through somebody else's eyes. And part of the fun of doing Mission Log Live is I like to sort of step back and let everybody else take the lead. And then maybe when we get back to it in about 10 years on Mission Log, maybe my perspective will be entirely different. Who knows? Right?
Maybe.
Well,
Looking at our notes, John, we seem
yes.
very divided on this episode.
We may be. Well, look, depending on how you get to our show, you may just step through the cutout view screen in your room and then you're here. But for the rest of you, please feel free again to use that Zoom link. Earl is right there in the Earl Green Room. And apparently, a lot of you, Mark, John A., Dr. Nani, Chris, Jim, Alan, Brandon, Paul, Cheyenne, love it. Cheyenne, welcome you to the show. Yes. All right. But we're going to talk about Strange New Worlds, or at the very least, we're going to talk about The Last Frontier.
The Last Frontier.
Yes.
But first, who is in the chat? The first person I see is Captain Mike Richards. Hi, Captain Mike Richards. Gonna see you soon.
Yeah.
Let's see. John Arminio, who is Quasar Sniffer, just so you guys know that's who that is.
Yes.
There is one Paul, there is two Paul, there are three Pauls tonight. It is a Paul Fecta. Let's see, Peter Archibald. I can say word. My brain cell is gone. Let's not forget. So I have an excuse tonight.
Right.
Our dear Ashley Thomas is back from Earl Con.
Yay.
She is here. Let's see. Frank Cirillo is here. The Welch guy is back. I know that Mark was here earlier. He's dressed for the occasion.
Right.
I know that Nani is here because she's calling in. Joe, Funniest Frontier, Dave Taylor, BC, Mark, everybody's here. I give up.
Fantastic. I even see Heather Ray in the chat.
Oh, who's that?
I don't know, but she is welcome to be here. So
Hey,
for sure.
Cool. It's me. Okay, it's me, guys. My brain
it's-
cell's here.
Yeah. First of all, I love kind of the reference to Spock's brain. Just like of all the ridiculous things you're gonna pick that,
Yeah,
right?
But like that is it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, we do have a full house tonight. We are going to get to everybody. Apologies up front if we have to cut short and move along quickly, but that's just what we need to do. Remember to welcome everybody if you can. Look, there's Sam. Sam joining us as well. So before we do any of that, let's talk about Roddenberry podcasts, shall we?
Let's do the thing. Okay.
Uh-huh.
A mission log will be on hiatus this week because
Yes.
it's Star Trek Las Vegas week. There's a lot of stuff happening on Discord. However, there will be a special Discord event while we have the party on Wednesday. You can
Yes.
pop on. And John, please remind me. Uh, let's see, is Paul calling in tonight? I think he is, Mr. Paul Harvath.
I believe so.
Because there will be a special event. So please stay tuned
Yes.
because you can join um, that event and kind of be a part of the party that way. But there's stuff going on all throughout the week in Discord. You can see the events kind of up in the tab there.
Yeah.
And then genealogy, it sounds like we're continuing with Jefferson Drum, and there are some familiar voices.
Yes, first episode of Jefferson Drum dropped today. You'll hear people from the Mission Log community in that episode, as well as some new people that you haven't heard, but definitely some familiar voice. It is a great scene. I think it's the longest scene that has been produced for genealogy, but it's a banger. It's great. And the episode itself, you need to check out, of course, the series that we're covering now, Jefferson Drum. Gene wrote 4 scripts for that show. 1958-59 is when that show ran. It is a series about a dad running a newspaper in the Wild West. And the Trek Files, that will be back soon. Watch this space. We're in our hiatus period between seasons, but season 14 is shaping up. So more to be announced about that later.
Okay, well, you guys know where to go, podcast.roddenberry.com to find everything, including, as I like to remind you, all the old school John and Ken mission logs that you can revisit.
Yeah,
Like it's all still there.
they're
So
all
if you're
there.
if you're new to us, go back, go dive in to the way back yonders of mission log because
Yeah.
it's there.
Love that idea. And before we get into the recap, we've got a bit of quick, crass commercialism, but, it's a cool one, right?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Because, let's see, the convention is coming up, and
Yes.
our friends at Factory Entertainment have some pretty cool exclusives at the booth,
Oh,
which are pretty rad. I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
What's your favorite that's up there?
Okay. Well, look, just first of all, if you're going to Trek Vegas, Star Trek Las Vegas, make sure you go by Factory Entertainment because there is so much. I had the great privilege last weekend at San Diego Comic-Con to see some of their Masterworks replicas, and they are built to order, so it's not like mass production assembly line. They are not cheap, but if you just go there and admire them and try not to drool on them, their Voyager model is absolutely stunning. Adam Savage did a whole video about it on Tested, and it's shocking. It is so good. And they even do ships to studio scale that have not been produced as a 3D physical model. So you think about all the modern Trek done with CG. Well, they make the models as they would be made for a production. They're gorgeous. What else do we have, Heather?
Well, if you cannot afford a spaceship that is the cost of a car,
Yes.
which many people can, and bless those people for having the
Yes.
money to do that,
Get
then
to.
you can enjoy things such as the Cat's Paw Enterprise, which is
Yes.
the little ship. And
Yeah.
look, you can find these things on the website, So if you go to Factory Entertainment and you look up Star Trek and you scroll the bottom of the page, they are there. And the Cat's Paw Enterprise literally is, I would say don't get it because if you're ADHD and you have that on your desk, all you're going to do is play with it because it like hangs there and you're just going to constantly move it around. But it's stainless steel. It's really cool. It's beautiful.
They
And
made it better than the
then,
original. They made,
yeah, I
the
mean,
original is aluminum and it bent, and they made theirs out of
anything is
steel.
better than the original Cat's Paw, John. Anything. Let's be
True
frank.
words. True words.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they have the most amazing Android necklace set from iMud. So now you can cosplay as a stylish robot emissary
I love
with
it.
the necklaces. One says 100 and the other says 500. And they do light up in the box. They don't light
Yeah.
up when you wear them, but they light up in the box, which is cool.
Very cool. And they're going to have guests at the booth all weekend: Dave Blass, Liz Klikowski, John Eves. So go over there, say hi, check out all of their stuff. Let them know that we sent you because, brownie points are always welcome. And remember, if you're not at the con, get in on the action at factoryent.com. Take 10% off your first order with that code mission log.
10% is a lot off of $18,000.
It is. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
so just
It's
so you know.
significant. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the chat, you can do the exclamation point because we're all really excited here.
Yes.
Exclamation point factory ENT.
Yeah.
And that will get you the code and the link and all that to go through and everything else. I would have said that there was a fine if you do drool on the very expensive, very beautiful large ships, but I believe they are encased in acrylic, so you cannot actually drool
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah, that's
But you
true.
can
Yeah.
go and look at them and daydream and maybe save up your pennies, or maybe you're just rich and
Yeah.
good for you. I'm very happy for you.
It's like going to a museum. You can appreciate the art, and then check
Yes.
it out again at the next convention. So yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
Factory End.
Okay.
Thank you guys. And all right, let's just get right to it. We got so many callers. I cannot wait to hear what everybody says. So here we go with Strange New World, Season 3, Episode 4, A Space Adventure Hour. La'an is tapped to test the Enterprise's prototype recreation room, holodeck, and she goes all in, asking the computer to create a juicy murder mystery based on her favorite 20th century detective novels. The program uses crew transporter data to populate the roles, and Spock tags along to help. Uhura becomes a pushy Hollywood agent, and the suspects are played by the likes of Pike, Chapel, Kirk, Ortegas, and Mbenga, all of them starring in a 60s sci-fi TV show called The Last Frontier. And this show has got everything: nuclear lasers, photonus beams, and the Egonians of the Triassic Empire. That thing where the four-eyed alien steals your brain cells. La'an investigates a murder, then two, then three, backstage at the fictional Le Monde Pictures, while in the real world, Scotty and Una deal with the issues caused by the power-hungry holodeck. Safety protocols fail, of course. A chandelier fall wounds La'an, and she starts realizing this simulation is no longer just for fun. With no way to shut it down, the only option is to solve the mystery. As the holographic characters bicker, Spock sticks by La'an's side until she realizes he's the killer. No, not the real Spock, but a holographic version cleverly inserted right at the beginning by the computer after studying her preferences. Now that the murder mystery is wrapped, the holodeck finally releases her, and La'an tells Pike the tech has promise, but maybe not on ships that face life or death situations every week. Scotty agrees, suggesting a proper server room next time. Una pauses for a moment with Scotty to remind him to ask for help when he needs it. The Enterprise crew are a team, and he can't hold himself responsible for what happened on the Stardiver or let his guilt get in the way of his work. With that fun diversion behind her, La'an visits the real Spock for some dancing. The computer may have chosen him as her perfect holodeck partner, but it's the real thing who she warms up to, kiss and all. Cut to the cast of The Last Frontier in a series of outtakes, doors that won't open, chintzy set pieces falling apart, and even a failed Riker maneuver. Art imitating life, imitating art. The end. All right. There we go.
The failed Riker maneuver was the best thing in the whole episode.
I wonder how many takes that took, because what I love that whole panel falls off the chair and he gets so angry. Like, somebody fix this. It's
Oh
so
my gosh.
good. It's so funny. Yeah.
We have so many callers. I feel like we should not take up a lot of time sharing our own opinions, but
Yeah.
I love it because for the most part, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought that it lightheartedly poked fun at Star Trek. I mean, we all look at Spock's brain the same way. None of us look at it as the city on the edge of forever of Star Trek, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so I looked at it the little example as, lightheartedly, joking at something like that. And I thought that that was nicely balanced by Joni Gloss. Is that her name? Joni Gloss.
Yeah. Yeah.
His speech
Oh, yeah.
in the middle, which I
Yeah.
get a lot of people felt was bonk bonk on the head. And I'm really intrigued by the different opinions about that and how that all worked. But for the most part, I really enjoyed that stuff. I didn't find it mean-spirited. And the impersonations of Roddenberry and Lucille Ball,
uh,
I thought were close enough, but not so close that they were those characters, because then I would have felt that Roddenberry was a little
yeah.
like
Yeah.
eh. But to me, it wasn't like this is actually completely Roddenberry. I felt it was its own standalone character. So I know it's been done before. Overall, I thought it was fun. I have mild criticisms, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a neat opportunity, and I'm really glad that the cast and crew got to have fun with this episode, as I know that they did. You, however, seem to feel a little differently.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. And by the way, if Far Beyond the Stars can have a bonk bonk message, then this can have a bonk bonk message. I feel like it's a similar idea. Obviously, one played very dramatically, this one played for comedy, where you go back and you tell the story of making Star Trek with this analog show. I get that. By the way, analog, no pun intended. You could actually take that both ways. I'm having trouble wrapping my head around how this fits, because to me, as a standalone, as one thing that is unique to Star Trek, I love it. Because as you know from Mission Log, I like it when Star Trek analyzes itself. When I put it into context of Strange New Worlds, I'm really having trouble with it, because so much of Strange New Worlds has just been ping-ponging back and forth, serious, funny, serious, funny, serious, funny. And with so few episodes, that is a lot to do.
Yeah.
And there is a sea change from how this series premiered, with like, hey, we're doing a modern take on this vintage TV show that talked about the future. And now especially with an episode like this, it is self-referential, and it is a Star Trek show about Star Trek, which, again, don't mind when episodes do that, but I'm wondering if the sort of the guiding mission of Strange New Worlds has changed. And we've still got another couple of seasons worth of episodes to go, so I guess we'll find out. But let's bring in some callers and see what happens. All right. So now I get it, Mark. Now I get the on point, on theme costume. Welcome to the show, and tell us what's on your mind about a space adventure hour.
Well, thank you, John. Yes, well, I always like a chance to break out the Indiana Jones costume, even though it's a little bit off from the 60s that the time period of the holodeck adventure came from. But
Well,
I
they were
actually,
doing like a Carmen Sandiego almost. Somebody
well,
said that, so they're kind of mixing their time frames. I think all is
yes,
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
no vile henchmen, though, unfortunately.
Right. Right.
Sorry, a huge fan of Carmen Sandiego. I could play the original now. The original all the time. But that's not
Yeah.
what I quite hear. What I want to talk about. I wanted to come in and talk about how I really see the holodeck as the futuristic safe space for people with neurodiversity.
Yeah, yeah,
Love it.
yeah. Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
Because it's the one place where they can go onto the ship and they can set the environment and the standards that make them comfortable.
Yes.
So for me, if I wanted to use me as an example, I have really sensitive hearing and other things, so I might be able to set it to where sound and other things don't bother me, but I can still clearly do it. And then the setting of the adventures, Indiana Jones, maybe I do something like that, but something of where I can do something comfortable, because so far in a lot of Star Trek, yes, we have the cool technology and other things, but we really haven't seen a place that I would be comfortable on the ship, especially if we bring in, since you mentioned lower decks earlier, and this one's getting some comparatives to lower decks. I think of the scene in lower decks of where they can't turn off the red light from the buzzard collectors until they
Yeah.
push the button, and how that type of color could be very unsettling for somebody with autism
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
neurodiversity. So
Yeah.
I can't help but think, with the holodeck, I'd be have uh, I as a person would be requisitioning my hour or however long I have for that piece, that I would be able to do that would then probably help center me to be able to continue to excel in Starfleet, assuming I made it and whatever with my things. And I think that's the beauty of that, and is an unexplored aspect of the holodeck that, especially since this is canonically now the earliest appearance of it, how the holodeck can really help to, do really neat things. And my hope is that I'd like to see in maybe Star Trek the Academy what the 31st century holodeck could look like, and maybe they have somebody with neurodiversity issues use a holodeck to tie that into the current shows going. And I just hope, I just think it's such a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I'm starting to rambling, so I'll give it
Well,
back to you.
look, I just want to say real quick, and then we'll have to move on. But I mean, I always appreciate your input here, and I like this idea from your perspective because, first of all, hopefully in the future, space is for everyone. And if we do, have enough breakthrough in order to get more people into space, yes, everybody should be welcome. And you're also speaking to something that is very real in our first small steps into space, which is people need to occupy their minds and they need to occupy their bodies as well. You see, like on the ISS, yeah, they got to exercise, but they also have to do things like read and entertain each other and work. So the idea of a holodeck, particularly for a 5-year mission, should not be far fetched at all. Entertainment, joy, adventure, exercising your mind, that is part of the human experience. And as you were making a very good case for, that should be available to everybody. Thank you, Mark. If you don't mind, we will move on quickly here just because we have a lot of callers in the queue, but we'll see you soon. All
See
right.
you.
Take care. Bye
Bye.
bye. I do want to mention, by the way, Heather, that there's a lot going on the chat here that I think it is important to I think it's important to fit this version of the holodeck, the rec room, the recreation room that was used on TAS, the animated series, in The
Mhm.
Practical Joker. This would predate that by a few years. So the technology, we have to assume, okay, Starfleet's been kicking this around. It's a thing. But I agree with some of the comments here. They could have made it a little more rudimentary. And when I knew the premise, can I tell you what I hoped would happen? That
Please.
somewhere in the computers that operate this thing, I know they're not going to do a reel-to-reel tape, which was the thing that amused me the most about the Practical Joker, the way that holodeck worked. But I wanted to see a computer display that mimicked that. Just like show me something that shows some kind of vintage looking tech that I could go like, oh yeah, that makes it look a little more clunky, like not quite right.
Yeah,
Or
not
maybe
as
the holodeck simulation just has a few mistakes, like maybe you run into a wall, maybe something's not
yeah,
quite right, you
some more
know?
random glitches and not quite a
Yeah,
perfect copy of what we see in TNG. Yeah,
yeah.
Ashley said that she and Earl had a good conversation about how the half-baked holodeck scenario could be read as a commentary on generative AI, which I'd like to hear more about
Ooh.
that. So maybe you guys could put some of that in our Discord.
Yes. Brilliant. Brilliant. And speaking of brilliant, let's bring in John Armenio.
Wow.
Look at
Wow.
that. All right. John, what have you got for us tonight?
All right. I have nothing against silly space shenanigans.
Sure.
I love it. But I think you just brought up with the concept of using the holodeck to comment on generative AI. You could be, the holodeck literally scrubs this author's work to create an all new adventure,
Mhm.
and we're just like, cool, fun. And
Yeah.
I feel like, we've talked about how the real estate of episodes of Strange New Worlds is much lower than what we have for the past eras of Star Trek. And so I feel like every time we have a silly space adventure with very little social commentary, the less real estate we'll have to give us those you see to me moments that like
Hmm.
is the reason why we come to Star Trek. And I don't want to take away from any of the performances that anybody gave or the fun of this episode, but I feel like in this current moment, like I need Star Trek to keep in mind that it looked at us in the face and said, "Risk is our business."
Yeah.
Right? Like they need to stand up for the qualities that made this show great while we're all here, and especially in light of the actions of Paramount recently.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel like maybe the show is getting studio pressure to lessen the amount of social commentary, and it wouldn't be the first time that Star Trek has had studio pressure about its messaging. So
Hmm.
I can't escape the worry that we're not getting the Star Trek that we're owed in this year of 2025. I mean, like, I need Spock to like look at us and talk about infinite diversity and infinite combinations, or all the things that make Star
Yeah.
Trek special, or like you said, comment about AI when we're talking about something like the holodeck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. And I think those episodes that I appreciate where Star Trek reminds us how Star Trek works, because we get the Holo Uhura monologue here, which is great. It's
Yeah.
really nice. It reminds us what Star Trek is supposed to do. But when you have that in an episode like Muse, which is on my mind because it was a favorite of Voyager season 6,
Mhm.
that's one episode out of 170 something that I think is earned because they've done 100 plus by the time they get there. And then they can kind of turn back to the audience and go, yeah, this is how this works. And then the next week, we're going to tell you a story where there is something. But Heather, yes, I see a finger up. Yes.
Yes. So I wanted to point out that Michelle Harvath, got to say the name correctly, brings up
Uh-huh.
a good point that there is a message in this episode, and that is that it is important to ask for help when you need it. And that's one of the
Yes.
parts of the episode that I really loved because, again, we see Una as an amazing leader, you know, telling Scotty, like, there are all of these crewmen on board, there are plenty of people here to help you, and you need to ask for help, like the crew is here. And so ultimately there is a message, like when you come back to this in the future, John, and look at the morals,
Yeah.
meanings, and messages, you will find them. Is it necessarily what we want and what we're looking for, or want a specific person wants? I mean, that's up to the individual. I can say that at least what I want in television is sometimes something lighthearted and happy that does not reflect the doom and gloom of the world.
Sure.
And so while there is definitely a whiplash between these episodes, and this is an ongoing theme
Mm.
with the show, and it can be very disconnecting. I agree with all of that. I do appreciate when these episodes come along because I have turned off so many other television shows, including fandom shows that I love. I
Hmm.
can't watch Andor season 2 right now because of how intense that show was, even though I know that it's very redeeming in the end and I'm supposed to feel good about the things that it does. I couldn't handle it because the world outside is also very difficult for me. And so when I get a fun episode, like I need that too. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
it's tough. There are messages. Is it the same as risk is our business and some of that? No, but I don't think we should necessarily forget what is there when it's there.
Yeah.
So thank you, Michelle, because I love that you brought that up.
For fear of dragging this on too long, but this is such a great thing though, because it makes me think, okay, now as fans, we have this challenging thing about how we're supposed to take an episode of Star Trek. Do we take it on its own terms as a self-contained unit that is telling a story? And that's kind of what we do on Mission Log is, okay, this episode does this thing. But there's also the context of the season that it's in and how do we feel going from episode to episode? Is it serialized? Is it episodic? But then there's this other thing happening where Star Trek is a meta commentary about Star Trek.
Yeah.
And this one in particular is the parody meta commentary about Star Trek. And up until now, that was really Lower Decks' vibe. And Lower Decks had that as the thread throughout, but then always paid it off with a character story. They always paid it off with like a big picture thing. I don't think this is necessarily tied to a big picture. Although, yes, Scotty, he's going through his PTSD. He's got stuff to work through. He's getting there. I love that moment. I don't know if the episode was about that, but I love the moment. And I think, Heather, you probably saw in my notes somewhere I said, like, more of this Una, because we loved Una in Command last week. And just that moment, chef kiss, you know?
Yeah. Can I say really quickly, just because I don't want this note from Earl to go unnoticed, that Celia's monologue was not so much about how Star Trek works, but about the saving graces of fan communities in specific and community more broadly, and that there are lots of messages there. And again, it's like last week's episode. I was very reactive in the beginning, and I didn't like a lot of things. And then when I took a step back, as we talk about in our Strange New Worlds discussion on Discord, when I took a step back and looked at the episode more thoughtfully and just took some time to let it marinate, I wound up taking so much more away from it. And that's what tends to happen with some of these. And so I just urge a lot of our fandom out there, only because I've seen a lot of reactivity to Strange New Worlds, to just take some time and let some of it sit. And it's not going to work for everyone. Everybody's not going to love it. And everyone certainly, that's totally acceptable. But I think that, you know, there's sometimes more there than we see, because right now it's not quite the Star Trek that everybody wants.
Yeah. I think that's fair. John, you and I should sit down and just like hash this one out for a couple hours one day. I would love to do that.
Glad to.
And Heather, you got that too. And look, that's partly what Discord is for, of course. There is more coming up in Discord just to have these longer conversations. John, we got to move on. But thank you for that perspective. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your perspective as well. I appreciate it. All right.
Cheers, gang. Let's go over to Jim. Jim, how's it going?
It is going great. Live from here on the set of the Space Adventure Hour.
Yes. Yeah, please, if you see a spare martini floating around back there, pass one my way, okay? What's on your mind?
Well, I thought I was impressed with like all the allusions they did with all the characters in this episode. Like Amelia Moon, I thought was like a great female Dixon Hill type character.
Yep, 100%. I felt like that was cut from exactly the same cloth there. And by the way, speaking of reference upon reference, Spock saying that his ancestor is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. All right, now, correct me if I'm wrong, is it in Star Trek VI that he references Holmes, but he doesn't?
So, yes.
Yeah, but he doesn't reference these specific ancestors. So you're kind of left wondering, wait, is he referring to Doyle, or in the fantasy parallel universe that is Star Trek, is Sherlock Holmes a real person, and how would they be related? So, but this puts a little finer point on it. But I digress.
Yeah, no, and like just about every character, I think, was an allusion to someone at some point, like in the franchise or in Hollywood. I mean, like the best one I can think of is like Rebecca Romaine. I think the best reference would be Lucille Ball, but I thought there was a little bit of a Tippi Hedren in there too with the character.
Oh,
well, Ashley Thomas in the chat said that Una's character is a nod to Ida
Ida
Lupino,
Lupino.
actress, writer, director. She is
Yeah.
a
Oh,
second
that's the
woman
character name. I was talking about the
ever.
characterization.
No.
Yeah, ever.
Ida Lupino is
Yeah.
the real person, but in this
Yeah.
she was playing a different Lupino. So, you
Yeah.
know, but definitely a reference to the real Ida Lupino. Yeah,
Yeah. Which is,
absolutely.
so I don't know if
Yeah.
it was like a combination there, or
Yeah,
because a lot of people picked up specifically Lucille Ball, and that was it.
yeah.
Oh, I definitely picked up Lucille Ball, but when like she did the reference to like when I think it was like when Hitchcock cast me in Crows or something like that, I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
got Tippi Hedren vibes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Ida Lupino, she did it all. She was an actor, but then she moved into production. You know, she moved into directing and producing, and you know, definitely a force to be reckoned with.
And Lord
As
knows Rebecca Romaine played that role perfectly. She's the perfect 60s bombshell.
absolutely. I was crushed that they killed her off so quickly. So,
Same
you
here.
know, yeah. Anything else tonight, Jim? Or we'll
One
jump right
other
over to
thing. One
Nani?
other thing.
Yeah,
Like,
please.
why is Spock still doing dance lessons since the whole point of it was to impress Chapel in the previous episode?
It's
Hey,
because we need Splaan.
I'm not even going to go into that. We'll be here for hours.
So I just really needed to say Splaan.
Okay, you're putting the L in there. So I had Spaan, but it's
But the L is
Splaan.
more fun. Yes, Splaan.
Splaan. Okay, got it. We got dancing now, Jim. That's how it's
Yeah.
going to be. All right. Take care, man. Look,
All right, nice.
I do not dance, but if I were required to go dance with Christina Chong, then I guess I would be compelled. I would have to.
I would.
Okay.
I think I would be compelled to, John.
See, there you go.
It's reminiscent of the dancing, with Data's Day.
Data and
There's
Dr.
been
Crusher.
dancing throughout Star
yeah.
Trek in different areas. It's
Exactly.
yeah.
All right. Jim, thanks so much. We will
Sure.
catch up with you later. Let's
Fun
jump
as
over.
always.
Yeah, likewise. Till next time, let's
Sure.
catch up here with Dr. Nani. Nani, what's
Hi.
happening? What's on your
Well,
mind?
Our term for today is introspection from
Ooh.
Wilhelm Wundt back in the late 1800s, I think, if I remember correctly. And that's basically where you are reflecting inward and thinking about, different how you've been acting, how you've been doing everything. And I think the episode itself, or I guess maybe the writers for the episode or for Star Trek, were doing that. And so you've got some of the silly stuff because, we all look back at things that we've done that are probably kind of cringy and, hopefully can laugh about it instead of, being utterly embarrassed by it. And then there's times when we go into those, very, those late night rants in our own head where we're doing the Uhura speech,
Mhm.
about what's the meaning of what's the point of our lives? Why are we here? Kind of thing. And so I just thought that, it was kind of interesting because the term actually applied to the episode versus someone doing something in the episode for once. So
I love that. All right. See, we knew that there had to be a psychological term to apply to this. So, yeah, excellent. Thank you. Any additional, is there a secondary term that we should be aware of with this one? Or introspection is the top of the heap.
Incredibly packed in the Earl Green room. So I do not want to take up too much time because we even have somebody new.
I know. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Nani,
I
we will see
want to
you
give
very
them their
soon.
chance. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
See you
All right.
very soon.
See you
Take
soon.
care.
See you very soon. All right.
All right. Let's jump over to Chris.
Hey guys, good to see you.
Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm actually in Vegas. I have a dinner
Hey,
reservation in like 10 minutes.
Oh,
so we're going to do
okay.
lightning round tonight.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I will say it's batting about 750. Most of it I liked.
Okay.
I will always take more Christina Chong.
Yep.
The self-referential kind of heavy-handed stuff lost me a bit, but it's like I still enjoyed the episode. It's not like I hated it or anything, but yeah, some of that stuff when it got a little too over the top, I was like, oh, okay, guys, that's a little much. I don't need Star Trek to do that. I can have other things do that. Like I don't need Star Trek to do that about itself.
Right. Right. Yeah, you know what? That's well said. I found myself enjoying this, but at the end of the day, I kept asking, okay, but why this and why now? And I might come to that again at the very end of our discussion tonight. Because I had a thought. Maybe folks will agree with me, maybe not. They can take it up with me later in person or online. But I asked myself, why? Why are we doing this way now? Other than it's fun. And believe me, if I remember that cast and they're having as much fun as they are doing it, great. Absolutely. I am glad you're having that much fun doing it, and telling something with style and with humor. It is fully enjoyable. But maybe here at Mission Log, we pick things apart very seriously when they don't necessarily need to be.
And I would sort of relate it to that. If the point of the episode is like Star Trek can be more than flyboard sets and campy aliens, that it has a deeper meaning, which is correct. Sure. Like we all agree on that. Is the holodeck episode the best like vessel for that? Right? Like we're trying to tell new people, no, there's some substance here. There's some like real emotional depth. And it's like Anson's in a wig. It's like, okay, like he looks good in the wig, but that's not sort of.
Does it kind of send I mean, here's the problem. Like, who is it for? Is it for the fans who already know all of Star Trek, or is it for the new fans? And if it's for new fans, do they look at that and go like, oh yeah, TOS is cheesy and full of cardboard sets, and you know, so is it? I don't know. Does it take away something then from
and there's definitely a discussion about who is it for, and I think that's a big point, and I think that's more time than we have and more time than I have, because I gotta get to Nobu.
Oh my, okay, well, go enjoy Nobu. I am wildly jealous, and I will see you in a couple of days.
All right, I will see you soon. See you soon, Heather, too.
Take care, friend.
See you soon.
Bye.
Heather, I'm so excited we have a new caller.
Oh, so excited. Hi, Cheyenne.
Hi, Heather. Hi, John.
Hi. Welcome.
I'm so glad to see you. I'm a longtime listener, first-time caller.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome. Cannot wait to hear what's on your mind tonight about the show.
Well, I think I really enjoyed this episode. I am a sucker for the cozy episodes, the ones that are just really easy to watch. And so I have very few complaints. The thing that I loved, I thought it was a really bold move to have the cold open be that Last Frontier show and Paul Wesley expertly channeling the original Kirk, channeling that. I thought that was brilliant. I think he did a great job doing that.
Not only
especially
that,
for all the people that have been hating on this new Kirk.
Yeah, look, I might have been among them, but I have to say that lighting cue though.
Oh my God, the dramatic
light!
lighting.
I want that wherever I go.
His face.
I want that. I'm gonna figure out a way to construct a thing where I just get that lighting on me anywhere. You know? Yeah, that was pretty great.
No, I loved that, and I thought I love it when Star Trek does Star Trek. I like it when it pokes fun at itself and it can be humorous about itself. I get where other people are coming from, where it feels like it's too much, especially for new people. I think it's fine for those of us who have been with Star Trek for a long time and know it in and out, and we're making fun of it ourselves all the time. But I think that it does make it difficult for newcomers whom this is the first series that they've watched. But my biggest gripe, I think, with this episode is the Spock La'an romance.
I'm sorry, Splat on. I think you mean
La'ak.
La'ak.
There you go.
I'm not a huge fan of that. First of all, I think it's too soon after Chapel.
Sure.
That whole thing. I get that they tried to wrap it up with the whole Corby wedding thing, but I think it was too soon, and I think it's so unnecessary. I don't think we need to throw Spock into a new romance every other week. I think the other thing is I am really disappointed in Strange New World's lack of queer representation. If you're going to do a new romance, do it with a new set of characters, make them queer, because we had a lot of that in Discovery. Discovery had tons of representation and they did such a great job with that. And then Strange New World has backed off of that a lot. We have only a handful of characters of color and no queer characters to speak of. I mean, they mentioned once that Chapel might be bisexual, and that's pretty much it. And we have seen no evidence of that on screen. And I just think trying to squeeze another heterosexual romance in is kind of annoying. And I think John Arminio brought this up earlier that it seems like they don't want to take risks. They don't want to push the envelope at all. And that's what I'm finding the most frustrating about Strange New Worlds right now, as much as I love this series.
I
Yeah.
love what you're saying. Taking style risks, yes, but risks with characters, not necessarily. I have to agree with you. Look, I don't mind the idea that Spock has these, raging emotions under the surface. That is something we know about Vulcans, and I love looking at vintage Star Trek fan fiction because it's all about Spock getting it on somewhere, somehow, you know. But I also wish that we had just taken a breather and maybe we plant this idea that, oh, if you could see an intimacy growing there and we just give ourselves a moment to let that settle, I would have been okay with that. But
Mhm.
instead, we went right for the kiss. We went right for the thing,
Yeah.
you
And we've
know?
got queer-coded characters, and I'm tired of
Hmm.
just having queer-coded characters and not explicitly queer characters because Ortegas is definitely queer-coded, right? Like
Yeah.
make it happen. Just give
Yeah.
me something. Say it on the
Yeah.
screen. Make it real for us. Because that's what I want to see. We want more Tegas. Give us more Tegas.
The
Bravo.
writers or the showrunners somewhere, someone, one of the creatives, one of the producers did say, or maybe the actors, in an article I read, they said there will be more queer representation in the future somewhere. Will we get it? I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious at this point that Strange New Worlds has pulled back in that regard. I do think that it was an intentional move to satisfy certain audiences. I've said as much in our Discord chats. Um, I'm not particularly pleased with that as a queer person myself.
Yeah.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly with everything that you said. I think, a rebound relationships are never great. So I don't know what they're doing there. I kind of saw it being set up. I saw it coming with the dancing to begin with, so I knew they
Hmm.
were headed in that direction. Uh, I I don't know. I just like saying Splaan, but I don't have good feelings about the future of Splaan.
No, because
Um,
we already know what's going to happen. So why bother?
yeah,
Right.
and but then it's like because there's no other characters out there right now to pay. What do you So I hope that either the rest somewhere in the rest of this season next. I just hope that we actually get the representation that we're supposed to be getting, so
Yeah.
that we're still present there in the future, and not somewhere off in the background, relegated to where we used to be in Star Trek. That's a big part of Discovery, and what Discovery gave to our fandom was bringing us out of the closet. Uh,
Hmm.
that's why when we go to conventions, like we're much more visible as a community now than we were back in 2016 and before.
Absolutely. And one last note before I hand it off to Alan.
Sure.
I just loved that Ortegas gets to, well, at least McNavia gets to say that I'm an actor, not a doctor.
Yes, yes, yes.
So good.
Cheyenne, thank you so much. You're getting a lot of love in our chat, a lot of agreement about your
Yes.
comments. This was the first time for you. You better come back, okay?
Please.
Please
Please.
join us again, all right?
Thanks, Heather. Thanks, John. Bye.
Take care. Bye
Bye.
bye. Hey, we only have so much time tonight, so I'm just going to very quickly say patreon.com/mission log. Join us there. Not only do you get into the parties and all the cool stuff, but this kind of conversation in our Discord, that's where it's at. So we're not going to take up any more time other than to say one more time, patreon.com/mission log. It's $1 a month. That's the easiest thing in the world. We want to see you there. And one person who get to see there is Alan. Alan, what's happening tonight?
Oh, hi guys.
Hi.
Yeah, no. Are we here to talk about a space adventure hour? Well, We can and we will because we must. It's our duty as podcast callers.
Yes. Yes. Perfect. All
And
right.
and absolutely, it is so good to see new people call in on these shows.
Yeah.
Cheyenne, awesome contribution.
Oh,
So happy to see new people.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the conversation tends to continue on the Discord. I could be persuaded to, do some conversating on Tuesday night. Could
Uh-huh.
happen.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
We shall
Uh,
see.
all right, good. And by the way, yeah, I mean, to pretty much every night, but especially this week during STLV, there's going to be a lot of activity there, especially for the folks who are not at STLV. Uh, Alan, any thoughts on the episode tonight?
Well, definitely, first of all, shout out to Christina Chong. She wears your granddad's clothes. She looks incredible. She's in that holodeck in that starship down the road.
Yeah.
Good for her. And I
Yeah.
will say that I do kind of feel like this is a little bit part of something that I feel is maybe I'm just projecting, or Heather, kind of like you, I want joy in my life. Um, but I feel like there is a thread that maybe they're working towards with La'an that's about her embracing joy in her life. And I want that for her, and I hope that that continues. And I know that towards the end, Cheyenne was like, "Well, we know where this is going." Well, maybe yes, maybe no. I
Hmm.
mean, you know, I'd like to think that there is a way to have a story with La'an that involves this romance, and even if the romance doesn't end well, or maybe it does, who knows? However they end it, that there's a way for her to exit this show without it being tragic,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and move on to bigger and better things, maybe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there are options there.
Mhm.
Um, I don't want to take up too much time, but I would like to say that a lot of this episode, um, it started off with a discussion of melancholia, and
Hmm.
Professor Nani brings the psych. I guess I'm going to bring the ancient Greek quack science, because, as we know, melancholia was, the ancients thought of it as an abundance of black bile
Right.
in your body. That this naughty evil liquid was making you depressed.
Yeah. That's what the
And
Penguin had in Batman Returns. But yes,
exactly,
carry on.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yep, of course, yep. Definitely, that's what you get for living in the sewer.
Uh-huh.
But they thought, well, it could be that you're too earthy, and Earth is like a associated with autumn, and it's a cold, dry season. So rather than go searching for your brain cells, maybe all they needed to get was something hot and liquidy in their body. So cheers to you.
Yes. Get that mug, get the Ractigino mug exclusively from
Yeah,
patreon.com/mission log.
not actually Ractigino. This is green tea with honey, but it still
Oh,
works.
how responsible of you.
Of
Nice.
course. It's a bit late here. I can't have
Yeah.
too much caffeine. But
Excellent.
But yes, so yeah, I just wanted to salute Strange New Worlds for another fun episode, and let's all seek out joy in our lives, shall we?
Oh,
Love it. Love
bravo.
it.
Well
Thank you,
said.
Alan.
Thank
Yep,
you, Alan.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Now joining the show, the star of today's audio drama on genealogy, it's
Yes.
Brandon Jefferson Drum
Oh,
himself.
wow. Well, thank you. The star. That's very. I'll take it. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I wanted to ask you, John. Did
Mhm.
did you forward that thing I sent you about Muse and Star Trek to the writers? Because I feel like I recognize some of Uhura's speech. That's
Funny. No, I did not. I did share it with Rod, but
yeah.
yeah, Rod doesn't have a hand in writing.
Oh,
So,
no.
you know,
I'm entirely kidding, but I was like 100% I have said these things because I thought that was all very, very true what Uhura says in her speech. And then I was like, yeah, definitely. Hey, wait, but what are you doing with this season?
yeah,
Because this time last season, we
Yeah.
had Ad Astra Per Aspera.
Hmm.
So far this season, we got a wacky wedding, we got a zombie MacGuffin quest,
Yeah.
and we got a holodeck Amok episode, which was fun.
yeah,
I mean, I love seeing the cast. Whenever the cast gets to play new wacky characters, they are so good at it. And
They're
I
great.
feel like there was some direction here from Jonathan Frakes that was like, everybody do an accent, except you, Jess. You stop doing an accent. And Anson,
which I
you mumble.
loved.
Yes.
Oh my God,
love
Anson.
it.
Again,
Yes.
chef kiss. That he was brilliant. Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, now I'm waiting for a zombie wedding holodeck episode. So maybe we'll get that. Yes.
I think I was thinking to myself, like, this is probably my favorite episode of this season, but I think that says more about season 3 to me than it does about this episode, because and some of that is going to be, I recognize I'm probably looking at season 3 through a slightly unfair lens. I've been waiting for 2 years. I desperately need in this world what Star Trek has been in the past, including Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Probably especially Strange New Worlds. And and it's coming in from these previous 2 seasons that gave us episodes like Ad Astra Per Aspera. And you know, I feel like you guys were just talking about it with Cheyenne. We had this show being so bold, and it does feel like it's rolled back. And you know, the statement that one of you said was to appeal to certain audiences. I don't speak for Star Trek or Roddenberry Entertainment or anything like that when I say
Sure.
screw them. Like the people who are like, hey, you know what? Less representation. Look, if we could just be more mean to people for being different, that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't care about appealing to them. And Star Trek has never been
Yeah.
about appealing to
Yeah.
them. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Good point. Good point.
and I didn't make some friends with that, but I don't know.
No, we're going to put that on a T-shirt, actually.
Screw 'em.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it's always
official
been about that.
policy now. Yeah.
Well,
Well
I
said.
don't want to take up more time, but that was me rushing through my thoughts so that I
I'm
didn't.
super glad that you did. Thank you. Always welcome. And we will see you next time. All right.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Take care. Hey, by the way, Earl says you're going to be on IMDb now because of genealogies. So
Oh, I'd better go get a headshot.
you better. All right. Take care, friend. Till
Bye,
next
you
time.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Time for Paul.
Here I am.
Just-
Here I am.
It's the
Talking about
countdown.
Melancholy. We got NASA and we got the TARDIS all in the early 60s, and this episode took me
Yeah.
back there. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this under a minute. 2
Okay.
items: the beginning and the ending. Is
Okay.
there anything more Roddenberry than the opening with Chapel's legs? If we think about it.
Very true. Yeah, that is 100% Roddenberry. Yeah.
And then the ending, as a dancer who's done on ice Argentine tango with various Olympians,
Yeah.
if you watch the last 30 seconds of that tango with Christina Chong and you watch her body language as she approaches the kiss, it's genuine. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how else I can say it. It's you just watch the tension build
Yeah.
and then poof, it was perfect chef's kiss. The rest of it, there's so much to talk about. It was my favorite episode, one of my favorite episodes ever. If not, it's right there with TOS, These Little Scientists, but oh my word, it just, yeah, so happy to get to see Christina soon. So yeah, that's it.
No argument with you there that the way they played that dance and the way that kiss great, fantastic, hot, yeah.
Yes.
But the other debate is, does it belong? Do we want it? Do we not want it? Whatever, but the way it was executed, beautiful.
I could care less. I was happy.
Good.
I could really, really care less. In my opinion, is all that matters. And for me, so, other people can chat and they don't have to change my mind. I don't have to change theirs. But, there are some really significant progress in this show
Yeah.
that has yet to be unraveled by a lot of folks, I think, down the line. Anyway.
Excellent. All right,
On
take
to
care.
Cherie. Have
We'll
fun,
see
Cherie.
see you in 48 hours, Paul.
Shh, don't tell me. Are you on the list?
Probably not. All right. Cherie, welcome.
Hi. Can
Hi
you hear
there.
me okay?
Yeah, we sure can.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so I actually agree with Paul. I do also though agree with everybody else's valid concerns about a Spock line. He literally just broke up. It kind of reminds me of when I used to watch Buffy. And it felt like she always needed a boyfriend. Like as soon as she broke up with one boyfriend, she'd get another boyfriend. And now Spock is Buffy. Spock always needs to have a girlfriend. But the thing is, Ethan Peck and Christina Chong are extremely attractive and have excellent chemistry.
Yeah.
And if I had those figurines, I would make them kiss too. So I'm not mad about
Bravo.
it now. We'll see where the story goes. Right now, I gotta be honest and say I'm not mad about it.
No, hey, those are all. See, this is what I love about our audience is we bring valid, positive points, valid critiques and criticism, and we just all get to conceptualize, and I would even say debate. We get to discuss those things. It's fantastic. That's why I love doing this show, because I get to hear all the things that people love, even if I didn't. There's a lot that I love in this. I'm going to be very clear.
Can I add to that like even though we clearly all like disagree, like we agree, we disagree, we bring our differences, like this is still so much fun. This is still so much better than logging onto whatever part of social media and seeing those things there. Like this fills my cup. Even though we disagree, even though we talk about those disagreements, this is still so much fun versus everything else out there. So like this is the spot, you guys.
Yeah. Cherie, Brandon definitely agreeing with you in the chat. They are pretty AF, no lie.
So pretty.
Yes.
So very pretty. I would just watch Ethan Peck as Spock all day.
He's great.
Yes, agree.
He's great. Any other comments tonight before we go to Sam?
I did want to throw out the other really important thing to me was Celia's monologue. It did not work for me. And the reason it didn't work for me is because one of the biggest, most important things about original Trek was Uhura. And for the character who plays Uhura to like have that monologue, but also not be represented in this fictional version of the show, like there were no Black people in this fictional version of the show. And so I was like, it just kind of hit a bit wrong for me. And I don't think anybody was like thinking about it that way. I don't think that was the intent or anything like that. That bothered me. Because, I think about how Whoopi Goldberg talked about how like that was so important to her. That's what inspired her to want to be on Next Gen, that she saw her and she's like, there's a Black woman on TV and she's not a maid.
That's a great point. Now that I think about it, her holodeck character should have 100% been an actor on that show. And I think that monologue would have meant way more. I think it still means a lot, but for it to have that kind of personal, experiential relevance would have been even better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point. Great point. Anything else, Cherie?
I did also want to throw out that I love Paul Wesley's Kirk impression, or rather William Shatner impression. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. Even though, so Paul Wesley as Kirk, how they have him, I don't feel like he's Kirk, but I don't feel like he's a bad character. I just feel like he's an entirely different character. Yeah. And it's just a weird thing for me. But like, I feel bad about it because it's like, I don't want to say he's a bad actor because he's not. And clearly here he shows he can't be Kirk. He was like 100% Kirk. Yeah. I was like, okay, that's Kirk. That's Kirk. I mean, it's a like kind of like a parody version of Kirk, but he can clearly do it. He's making the conscious decision to do something different, and it's not necessarily bad. It's just not how I personally would see Kirk.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely get that. And gosh, can't imagine an actor like that trying to take lines from another actor on set. I mean, unthinkable. Just absolutely unthinkable. Excellent. Cherie, see you soon, I hope. Take care.
Yeah,
Have a great
thanks.
night.
You too.
And let us jump over real quick here to cap things off with our friend Sam. Sam, how's it going tonight?
Good. I'm here. I happened to be around, so I logged in, and I guess
Awesome.
there's too many people, so we're just over time. So I don't know how to do this quick,
Hey,
but I'll try.
for you, all good. What's on your mind?
Yeah, there's so many little things I could talk about, but I'll jump to the game of the detective story in the Holo program. Um, it 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 felt off to me in that there was something uneasy about the way it was changing to match La'an, which is not what you want in a detective game. Like if you're trying to deduce the killer, you need the evidence to line up. You need your deductions to line up. When things are being changed, there's nothing to deduce. And it could have been happening two ways. It could have either been that whenever La'an was on to someone, the computer would change who the killer was. Even, because it was giving all the signals one way and then another, which obviously that can happen in mysteries, but it seemed more than that. The other possibility is that it was Spock all along, like the computer developed that initially to be that. And that also gave her nothing to do because you can't deduce Spock from within the game because Spock doesn't have any motive or any means or any opportunity or like any reason to be the killer except to trick La'an into never looking at the person who's not part of the narrative, which is just kind of lazy, right?
Yeah.
And it bothered me as I watched it, but thinking about it more, I do think it is an absolutely pointed message about generative AI, because they even use like the initial setup was her saying, "Computer, make me blah XYZ," and it sounded like the way that prompts are given today to LLMs that are generative, and which is clever because it is the way that they used to do it on other making holodeck simulations, but it's more pointed today because it has a specific reference. But they did use that language, not in that moment, but I think when La'an and Spock were talking at one point, Spock said, "What prompts did you use?" And the AI is making these choices. So that was very specific. And so the fact that it was so ungrounded, such an uneasy feeling to the game of the mystery as a game itself, made me think that that's really what it was. When they were saying how useless generative AI is, as a medium to make entertainment.
Wow. Okay. I love that layer added to this. And that's a really interesting point about the computer not playing fair in the respect that, okay, if you're in a mystery and the mystery, the story of the mystery is the reality that you're in. Okay, you could have characters who are deceptive. You could have characters who are trying to throw you off the path of finding clues that lead to the culprit, right? But what you don't have is somebody actually changing the game from the outside at any given point. And it's a different thing for Moriarty. The Enterprise computer that created Moriarty, that was a different thing. That was a request of a character to specifically defeat Data,
Right.
Yeah.
And I think there was one more point in there where something changed and La'an mentions, "Oh, it's the game realizing that I've leveled up."
Yeah.
And again, that's fine if you level up and do another story that's harder. Because she said, "Challenge me," and didn't say like challenge my current thing and then make it constant for this game until it's over. And the computer took it as challenge me the entire time, meaning even if you have to change the universe, make sure I'm challenged.
Oh man,
quite a bit of agreement in the chat because
Yeah.
Alan also said like the mystery was the part that worked the least, which is the same for me, and that that's what was. Ashley said that's what made me think it was commentary on generative AI, and more from there. So yeah, I love this conversation.
Love it. I wish we could go on longer, but we can't. I'm sorry, Sam.
That's good.
Till next time.
Good
All
to see you
right.
guys.
Hey, likewise.
too.
Take care, friend. Till next time. Heather, any important note or comment of yours that we didn't get to?
No. Yeah, no. We talked about Una. That's the most important
Yeah.
part. I got to say Splan. That was also really important. I think I've found some brain cells in the evening, so that's great. Yeah,
Our
the
callers always
mystery.
motivate me in that way. Like, I feel
Our
smarter
callers
after
are
hearing from everybody else.
the best. Again, emphasis on how awesome this group is, and like this is the place where I do my Star Trek. Like I
Right?
don't talk about Star Trek anywhere else. It's just everywhere else is right now a reflection of the rest of the world for me. And very, especially with Strange New Worlds, very argumentative, very negative. And I get it. I get that there is a lot of confusion about Strange New Worlds and where they're going. And again, it is totally okay if you don't like it. But for me, when I take a lot of joy out of what I do, it's difficult to go to a place where I'm met with a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
And so that is why I like that I can still come here and hear differing opinions, but hear those in a place where I'm not being drained by it. It doesn't feel hateful or mean. It still like helps, broaden my own perspective. And at the end of the day, I leave with my cup full instead of an empty cup and sad and melancholy.
See, we don't want that. I love the
No.
quality of this conversation, and that is a huge thanks and tribute to our amazing callers, our amazing audience. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around just a minute late here. And I have to share with you now my big bad idea, which I may come back to in 10 years on Mission Log, okay? Who knows? Or maybe I will have forgotten it by then. But here's my thought. Here we are, early season 3. We haven't even finished season 3. We got season 4 on the way. We got 6 episodes of season 5 in a couple of years, right? But this is early season 3, and we're doing this, and that's why I feel a bit of whiplash. I feel a little bit of disorientation with an episode like this. This is my big bad idea. Everybody, you can hit me up in Discord or email or catch me in Vegas and tell me why I'm right or wrong. But I think here's what they should have done. I think this is a brilliant idea. If you wait and do it at the end of Strange New Worlds, let Strange New Worlds have been off the air for 6 months, 12 months, whatever. I don't know what Star Trek is going to look like 12 months after Stranger Worlds is done. And you tell these great provocative stories, deep character depth that we've gotten into with Mbenga and Chapel, and now we're exploring Scotty more. We still have this whole issue of fate around Pike that we haven't fully explored yet. There's a lot of interesting stuff to discover there. And then, of course, there's all the relevant political and social issues that Strange New Worlds started to get into, but now it takes these sort of diversions. What if they did all of that and then they hit us at the end with an episode like this? And to me, that would have been the love letter. You heard about the end of Enterprise, how that was intended as a love letter to the fans. I think this would have been the love letter to the fans if it could stand wholly on its own. But I think I'm having trouble reconciling that this doesn't stand on its own. It is just immediately thrown into early season 3, and I need to find my balance again. So maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong. You guys can let me know. I'm not a showrunner, so I don't get to make that call.
Do we have the writer's hat in the Mission Log shop?
You know what? I'm told actually we do have the T-shirt and we have some other swag. And Cheyenne won the Writer's Hat Award tonight. That's according to Alan.
Oh,
So,
okay. Because
yeah.
we need the literal writer's hat to put on your head, so
Yes,
that
we
you
do.
can
We do.
have it with like Somebody make it and bring it to S2E. Short
looks-
notice, maybe next year. But
Looks like a Spock helmet says writer on it. All right.
there you go.
Well, with that, Mission Log is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment, technical production on Mission Log and Mission Log Live by the inevitable Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry Podcasts. And we say it every week, but we really mean it right now because this is a conversation we get to have when you support Mission Log directly at patreon.com/missionlog and join our Discord. Thank you to everyone who joined us live or later, and we sure do look forward to seeing you all next week.